So I've been asked on a couple of occasions for a boots on the ground drought update video, and here it is. I am in Upper East Texas, where this time last year we had 33.5 inches of rain, and so far our count is at 16.5 inches. Now this is not drought by most standards, especially in Texas, where a lot of our ranchers have not seen the likes of 5 inches in an entire year. But where I am standing in Upper East Texas is a resource bank for the remains of Texas itself. We're coming up on a time where we do not even have the hay to satisfy our own ranches, let alone export to the drier parts of the state and country. This area in Upper East Texas sees 47 inches of rainfall every year, and as such we export our hay to South and Central Texas as well as the West, where the precipitation is much lower. But here we are in August of 2022, and we are actually importing hay from Louisiana, Oklahoma, and states that have received higher rainfall. Hay prices are already $100 a bale at minimum, with prices of $150 plus not being crazy. Now what you see of this pasture behind me has not been grazed since March 6th. This is a portion of my pasture that I have deliberately put aside and not grazed. This particular area is really a true reflection of the forage yield deficit. We're looking at overall yields down by half or 1/3 of what they were last year. I'm going to throw up some comparison shots of my pasture in July and August of 2021, just to give you guys an illustration of what we're looking at here. But not only have we had low precipitation, we have had 60 days in the triple digits, 100, 105, 107, and the ground is just absolutely baked. We have cracks in the ground at 18 inches deep, and the moisture is just being completely sucked out. We have wet weather creeks that are entirely dried up. And I want to double back to the reality that we have had 16 inches of rain this year. However, what makes our drought so severe here, despite that rainfall, was a winter drought that preceded the summer drought. We had a reprieve of 16 inches over spring, but we were in a deficit of about 8 to 12 inches from a winter drought. Quality Pasture, which is one of the top 5 books on grazing that I highly recommend, all of which are available at shopshepherdess.com, speaks of the significance of a winter drought, citing that winter droughts are much more significant than summer droughts because, quote, they prevent groundwater recharge, reservoir filling, and cause a severe shortfall of spring pasture. And that's exactly what happened. We were hit with a double whammy. We were hit with a severe drought over winter, and that has doubled back on us this summer. Now there have been 2 grasses that have been real saving grace on my farm here. And number 1 is the perennial crown grasses, and those have root systems that extend anywhere from 6 to 8 feet into the ground. So we are actually seeing some recovery on those grasses here despite the minimal precipitation. The second grass is the Bermuda grass, and it's really floating a lot of my grazing activity right now. And the Bermuda grass has a root system that is about 18 to 24 inches deep. So we are getting these deep root systems that are pulling the water up out of the ground. And I really want to bring to light the reality of the root systems that we're looking at here. My animals are still grazing. They are not eating hay. And that has a lot to do with the root systems that have been established through this intensive rotational grazing practice we have been implementing over the past couple of years. The rest periods allow for those roots to dig deep in the good years. And in years where it's sparse, those deep root systems abide and can pull the water from deep under the ground. While we are still experiencing dry conditions along with everyone else, the pasture conditions here really aren't too bad. I have my cattle that are still grazing. I have my sheep that are still grazing. I'm going to have much less stockpile for overwinter, and I will have to feed hay over winter. But in all, I'm extremely grateful for how we're looking here. On a personal level, the sheep are doing absolutely fantastic. They're fat, their condition is maintained, they're healthy. The low precipitation means that the parasite loads are also extremely low on pasture, and they are absolutely thriving. The cattle are losing a little bit of condition. Nothing serious. I am on a drought diet with them, which means I am limiting their paddock size and their pasture consumption. And by no means are they emaciated, but they're definitely not as plump as they would be were we in normal rainfall. Alright guys, this is the stuff. Been coming down for 15 minutes like this. inch and a half. Praise to the Lord. Look at that, guys. We've not had that much rain in 2-3 months.